Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Oluwale Godwin and welcome to Macroeconomics. Today we shall be talking on the effects of price controls on demand and supply. First, let's try to remind ourselves what demand is. Demand is the quantity of goods and services, or you can just say commodities, that a consumer is willing and able to buy at a given price and at a particular time. Supply, on the other hand, supply is the quantity of goods and services that the producer is willing and able to sell at a given price and at a particular time. Okay, so we are not going into this today. What we want to focus on is majorly price controls. Before now, we must have been taught that, or we must have learned that demand and supply are the two major forces. The forces of demand and supply are the two major forces that allocate resources under the market system. Okay, but why do we need price controls? Price control is needed. Price control is needed in order to allocate resources in a way that is better according to the society's perspective than what the market does. Okay, so what do I mean? The market allocates resources to those who have the money. It's as simple as that. That is when we have the force of demand and supply meeting at a point. You have, this is your supply curve. This is your demand curve. So you have this place called equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Let's assume that this price is 400 naira, and let's assume that this graph is graph for shirts, and let's assume that the equilibrium quantity is equal to 20. So here is the quantity axis, here is the price axis. How about people that don't have up to 400 naira? Do you mean they won't be able to purchase shirts? And that is what the force of demand and supply basically mean. You have the goods going to the highest bidder, something like an auction, but not really an auction. Okay, so governments often come into play in order to fix price controls, either in form of minimum price control, which is basically called the minimum price, or price floors, or let me just say price floor, or maybe the maximum price, or not both, or price ceiling. So these are the two basic ways in which the government may come into the market in order to make sure that some consumers are better off than what the market would have allocated on a normal day, and perhaps some producers are better off than what the market would have allocated on a normal day. Now, let's go in depth into these things. What does minimum price mean? Minimum price is a price that is legally set by the government of a country. Let me write, in case you want to write, minimum price, or let me say a minimum price is a price legally set by the government of a country in order to help the sellers. Yeah. So a minimum price is a price legally set by the government of a country in order to help the sellers on, let me add something, sellers of a particular commodity. Okay, so minimum is just list price. So what this is trying to say is that government fixes a price where buyers can not buy below. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let's give an example. Let's talk about the farmers. The farmers have long years, or let me say long years of their agricultural activities, and then after a year or so, they bring some of their commodities into the market. Then what you realize, let's use the example of tomatoes. Then what do you realize? People start to price tomatoes anyhow, to the detriment of the sellers. Okay, so let's say a basket of tomato is supposed to be around 1,000 naira, but then the force of demand and supply worked in such a way that the equilibrium price is 600 naira, or let me say 300 naira, and then the equilibrium quantity is whatever it is. Okay, in that case, the farmers are not better off because they might actually be producing at a loss. The price they are supposed to charge for their product is 1,000 naira, but now they are being forced to charge 600 naira. So what will the government do? The government will come into play to fix a minimum price at 1,000 naira. So which gives the farmers some ability to raise the price. Like they may sell some bags of tomatoes, some packets of tomatoes to some buyers at a price that is higher than 1,000 naira. But at least the list price, you understand, that they must receive is 1,000 naira. So that is what we call the minimum price, which I said it is set in order to what? To help the sellers than under normal circumstances of the force of demand and supply. Now this price, we must note something. This price is also called price floor. The minimum price is also called price floor, which is the same thing, which is telling you that it is the lowest price. Okay, so graphically, because economics deals with graphs and graphs and graphs. Okay, so graphically, there's a way to depict this. Now, I want you to realize that when I was explaining the other time, I was saying farmers are willing to sell baskets of tomatoes for 1,000 naira, but then the force of demand and supply is asking them to sell for 600 naira, which is a loss. Okay, so the government coming in to set a minimum price of 1,000 naira simply means 1,000 naira is going to be above the equilibrium. Now, this is what I mean. So we have, this is the supply of tomatoes. Is the demand for tomatoes. You have 600 naira here. Then let me say 40 baskets of tomatoes. Okay, so demand and supply of tomatoes. So 0. Okay, good. The government coming in is now going to set a price around here, which is 1,000. So you have this as the price of tomatoes. What do you observe at this point? Two things. You observe that this is the demand for tomatoes now, which is now below what? 40. Let's say 20. Then what is the supply of tomatoes? Okay, let's say 50. So this place represents excess supply. So, as the minimum price, which is set above the equilibrium price, what do you observe? It's covered that farmers are willing to do what? To sell more baskets of tomatoes than consumers are demanding for. And at the end of the day, what is the excess? The excess, because demand now is at this price is 20 and supply at this price is 50. Okay, so the excess is equal to 50 baskets minus what? 20, which is what? 30 baskets. Okay, so this is trying to tell us that price control, a minimum price control may not be the best thing to do. It may not be the best thing to do because it usually it's graphically, as we've seen, it has a negative consequence, which simply means sellers will have to go home with 30 baskets of tomatoes. Now, they can't even sell up to what the equilibrium price is commanding them to sell, which is 40. What they can sell now is 20 because that is what the market is demanding. So, whenever a minimum price is set, you have what? You have excess supply. I hope you understand that. Okay, so now let's go to price ceiling. Let's go to the price ceiling. I'm coming, so I need to rub. Okay, so what is a price ceiling? That's the question. What is a price ceiling? It's just the reverse of a price floor or a minimum price. Okay, so in passing, price ceiling is also known as the maximum price. So price ceiling, a price ceiling is the maximum amount set legally by the government of a country at which commodities or a commodity must be sold. Okay, so why do you think you are going to have price ceilings? Price ceiling occurs when sellers are being irrational, let me say irrational, in the prices they charge the buyers. So now, governments don't have any reason to impose price ceilings if they do not consider some particular goods and commodities being too costly for consumers to buy. So in that case, the government comes in and mandates sellers to sell a particular product at a maximum price. At a maximum price. Okay, which simply means that is the highest price that they can sell their produce. They can sell below the price, but they must not go beyond that maximum price. Okay, and what does that mean? It simply means the government is trying to protect the what? The consumers this time around. The other one, the government was trying to protect the suppliers, but this time around we have government trying to protect the consumers. Alright, so this is the graph. You have the supply curve, you have the demand curve. This is the equilibrium. Equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. So according to the government, this particular price is too high. The price that the demand of the forces of demand and supply are commanding is too high for people to pay. So the government comes and fixes a maximum price which the sellers must not go beyond, and it's not going to be up to them because remember I said the government considers this price to be too much for consumers to pay, and that is why you have maximum prices set below the equilibrium price. Reason, let me state it again. The reason is simply because the force of demand and supply has resulted into an equilibrium price that government considers too high for its populace or for the consumers of that particular product, and because of that, government will mandate the suppliers to sell at a price that is lower than that equilibrium price, and that mandated price is what we call the price ceiling or maybe maximum price, as the case may be, and that is why we have price ceiling. So this is maximum. Let me call it Pmax, maximum price. Okay, then what do you observe? In this case, we can say this is Q star. Let's assume Q star is 40, like we said the other time, and this is 20, and this is kind of big. So we have this is like maybe 65. Okay, so as this is our price, and this is our quantity, and this maximum price, look at it. Demand on the supply curve we have 20, then on the demand curve we have 65, which simply means there is a gap in what consumers are demanding and what the suppliers are supplying. Of course, we know from the law of supply that a lower price, it makes suppliers to do what? To reduce the quantity supplied. They are just being rational. And then for consumers, we know that a lower price will make consumers to what? So they're just following the normal law. But then that is resulting into something that the government never intended in the first place. Okay, so we have, this is excess demand. Okay, so a maximum price leads to what? Excess demand, and let's calculate it. Excess demand here is what? 65, come to demand curve, 65 minus what? 20, which is equal to what? 45. So, excess demand of 45. 45 for whatever the product is. Probably shirts, probably car, I don't know. No, not car, it can't be car. Okay, shirts, shoes, anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, now there is a special case that I want us to consider, which is rent control. Rent control. So the government oftentimes sets maximum rent that landlords should charge their tenants. And why do they do this? Because we have, usually in every society or country or anywhere, we have a lot of people that are poor, if not so poor, relatively poor, somehow. And the government needs to protect them from their landlords. Do you understand? And what the government tries to do is to set a rent that is lower than the equilibrium rent, like the one from the market, from the market forces, to set a rent that is lower than, you understand what I'm saying? Lower than the one the market was initially setting. Okay, so this is done because housing is a necessary good. The demand for house is a necessary demand. Okay, in other words, like technically, housing is a necessity. You understand? People need to live in homes, and because of that, government cannot afford landlords charging tenants more than they can pay, because government won't really want to see many of its citizens sleeping on the streets or under the bridge or whatever, and because of that, they usually impose maximum rates. Okay, so in that case, this is the supply of housing. Supply of housing. So demand. These are title, demand, and supply of housing. Okay, so this is the quantity of housing demanded, 0. This is the demand for housing, and this is the rent kind of price, which is technically the price. Okay, so according to the forces of demand and supply, the equilibrium price is, let me say, 60,000 naira per year. And the people that can pay this price, they are just 80. Let me say 80 million members. And the country's population, total population is equal to 200 million. Okay, so do you think the government of this country wants to see 120 million of its populace not living in houses, living on the streets, living under the bridge? Of course not. So what do? The government considers that this 60,000 naira is too much per year. So it imposes a maximum price that landlords should charge their tenants, and that is going to be below the equilibrium price. I believe you all understand that now. So government imposes a price of 35,000 per year. Then what do you observe? At this point, we discover that the suppliers, the landlords, will cut back the supply of housing. Let me say it was 80 million before, so look at this gap. Now we have, let me say, 60 million, and let me say 65. Then look at the demand for housing, because the price is now lower, so more people can demand for house. So we have like 110 million. Okay, so what do we discover? We discover we have excess demand for housing. Excess demand, which is okay. So calculating the excess demand is equal to what? 110 million minus 65 million, and that's going to be 45 million. Okay, so there's an excess demand of 45 million. You see, the suppliers will cut back, which is rational for them to do, will cut back the amount of houses they make available from that of 80 million populace to 65 million, because this price they consider it to be too low, which is also based on the law of supply. I believe we all understand that. Now, this is not where the story ends. The government's purpose of doing this is to make sure that more people have houses to accommodate themselves. But then, as you can see, supply has reduced. It's not only supply that is going to reduce, even landlords are going to reduce the quality of their houses. And this is what I'm trying to say. They do not really have the incentive to improve upon their houses anymore. The incentive is not really there because what they are receiving now is lower. Okay? Because what they are receiving now is lower. And so the facilities of the quality of houses begin to diminish. You see, they do not bother to paint the houses anymore. They do not bother to maintain toilet facilities. And apart from that, what do you discover? You discover overcrowding in rooms. Instead of having, let's say, 4 occupants in a room, you might start having 8 occupants in a room. Okay, so these are problems. These are unanticipated problems that the government never envisaged, arising from setting maximum rents. Okay, so that's that about that, and that is all for today. Thank you very much. In our next video, we'll be talking about the long run and the short run impact of rent controls. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave your questions in the comment box, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.